This is Zichru Simanim, Gemara Sanhedrin, Daf Lamed Beis. The Lamed Beis, of course, is a lab. Now, over here in Sanhedrin world, we're at a very unique lab. We have this Talmud Chacham generating what? Drishos v'chakiros. A whole machinery pumping out different questions to investigate the Eidim. We see over here what day of the month, which day of the week, what time, what was he wearing. So it's the Drishos v'chakiros generator. Now, point number one is he receives DHL mail that don't require drishos v'chakiros for monetary cases. Why? Point number two is they built into a simulator tzedek tirdaif, a narrow canal simulation of two ships in order to poischin l'schos reminder for dinei nefashais. And point number three is how are dinei nefashais open l'schos. We see over here, if you did not commit the murder, do not be afraid. That poischin l'schos, telling them don't worry, and the different ways of opening up the Bezdin, the court case, in a murder and din nefashis trial. So we have a lab, and in our lab, again, we have this unique drishas v'chakiros generator, pumping out different drishas v'chakiros. So point number one is the DHL mail that arrived, that again, rabbinically ordained, shlotin al dels, if they love and we do not want to close the door in front of borrowers, that we're not going to require drishas v'chakiros for three people. Point number two is going to be the new tzedek tirdaif simulator, which we're going to discuss, two ships in a narrow canal. And point number three is that we're always going to be paischin l'schos by dinei nefasha. He's telling them if you didn't commit the murder, do not be afraid. So let's go a little bit deeper. Point number one, drishos v'chakira is rabbinically waived in, that's the piece of DHL mail that came to the lab, Daf Lamed Beis. Why? Shaltinal Daus of Nei Love, and the parak began. They both require Mishra Echad Yolachem. Two questions. The seven primary questions at the time of the place, the secondary questions about the details. The Mishnah continues, 10 differences between Dinei Mamonos and Dinei Fashais, which mostly require that we try. We do not want to make someone chayav, we want to acquit. Dinei Nefashais. The Gemara challenges Mishnah's first rule in the case of shtar me'uchar. We assume a shtar is post-dated, is contradicted by Eidim. Since the person of Jishach Hakira is established and able that it is actually true, how can we say that it's just shtar me'uchar? Chnina says that's midaraisa, that even dinei mamonos are shtar Jishach Hakira, but midarabanan, that's what we don't require. Why? Shaltin al daus of nei lavan. Point number two is going to be that tzedek tirdaif simulator. What is there? A pupper says the Mishnah is referring to Drish v'chakira. Even for dinei mamonos is when din miraima, is when we're worried of fraud. We're worried about a parent fraudulent case. They suspect someone is lying. They carefully question the eidim. Rish Lakish says one pasuk says tzedek mishalami secha. No, the pasuk says tzedek. So which one is it? Is it one tzedek or two? The second pasuk is din miraima. When we're worried about a suspicious case, that's when we have to have extra tzedek. Rav Ashi says, what's a double tzedek? That din and b'shara have to be equal. This is the brisa about two ships or camels meet a narrow passage. Guidelines: how do we make way one for another? Brisa pasuk says, "Halich achar bezdin yafeh." Rav Elazar, Aloy, Rav Yechim, and Zakir Berachayel. Brisa says, "Halich achar chachamim li yeshiva." 12 different examples. And finally, the lab is pumping out drishos v'chakiros, and there's a reminder, dinei nefashos should open up l'schos, says the Mishnah. Dinei mamonos are open bein l'schos bein l'chayva. But bein nefashos is always l'chayva. What does it mean to open l'chayva? Rita says, we tell him, who says it's like you said? Ula says, wait, but you're going to scare him. They're not going to want to give eidos. Ula says, no, the case is going to be that we're going to remind them, don't worry, call me sheishla, whoever knows anything, come and say, don't be worried, if you're not guilty, you will not be convicted. So in Davlamid Beis, our Drisha v'chakira generator, all the different Drishas v'chakiras, as we begin the parak over here, all the different first, primary and secondary questions. So point number one is going to be, there's going to be no drishas chakiras when it comes to monetary cases. Shaltinal delas, if they lovin. Again, that might only be a din derabanan. Midiraisa maybe, yeah, but midirabanan we do not. Point number two is going to be tzedek tirdaif, how we equate But tzedek tishman amisecha versus tzedek tirdoif in the mashal with the boats and the camels. Point number 3 is the reminder that by din nefashos we open up with different ways of either calming the person, different ways of making sure that we open up liz chus. By din nefashos is taf lamid beis in the Gemara Sanhedrin.